Hilchos Metam'ei Mishkav Umoshav Perek Chi, the laws of those who impart impurity to the things that they lie on and they sit on. Chapter 9. The first part of this chapter continues yesterday's topic about Hesed. If a Zav, or one of his friends, causes something to move by indirect touch, so yesterday we learned that that still becomes impure. Today, the Rambam is going to differentiate between two types of causing to move. Direct and indirect. That's going to be the beginning of the chapter, and the end of the chapter is going to return to the laws, the main laws of Mishkav Umoshav, things that a Zav lies on or sits on. So, the other day we learned that Mishkav Umoshav itself, that mattress, that chair, transmits impurity to people. But today we're going to learn, what about does it transmit impurity to objects, to kelim? That's the two part of today's chapter. Okay, so let's do it. Halacha Aleph, davar shahayam mechubar ba'aretz ay mesumar b'masmerim. You have something which is attached to the ground, or at least it's nailed into the ground. So like a tree that's mechubar, that's naturally attached to the ground, or you have like a stool that you banged in. Im haya koicha yafeh v'chazak, if its strength was nice and strong, it means it was very firmly in its base. V'hikish alav hazav, comes a zav and bangs on it. Ube'ez shehikish, and at the time of his bang, heinid kli oichlei mashkin umashkin mikoyach hakaasai, he causes a utensil or food or drink to shake because of the hit that he makes. Oy shehi pilon, or of course if he causes them to fall off of that thing, hare'elu tahirim, they remain pure, because even though in a way as a result of the bang the things shook, but since the tree or whatever it is rooted firmly in the ground, so the vibration that came from the Zav is considered to be very light, and it's not considered as if the Zav himself moved it. But if to begin with the whole thing is not so firm, it's not so strong, it's a little wobbly, a little shaky, the hikish alav hazav, comes the Zav and bangs it, and because of the power of his hit, he causes utensils or food or drink to fall down, or at least to move. They become impure. It's as if a regular hesed, he caused them to move. Because they fell as a result of his strength. Sunday morning in Chabad, we have to forgive the noise that's all around us. Zeh HaKlal, says the Rambam, this is the rule. Anything which falls directly as a result of the causation of the Zav's moving is impure. But if it only fell because of the vibrations, in other words, really the thing is very firm, and the Zav's banging didn't do anything directly, but the vibrations traveled and caused it to fall, we don't attribute that to the Zav, and he's pure. And now we get some examples. Keitzad, what does this look like? Hikish al ilon oisaycha shekoichan ra. The Zav bangs on a tree or on a branch that has bad support, which we defined yesterday. Right? If you would hide yourself in a tree and try to push the branch would move. Firmly would mean it wouldn't move. So it's koichon ra. Oyal sulam mitzri she'enei kavua b'masmer, or an Egyptian step stool, less than 4 rungs, that's not set in with a nail. Oyal koida v'deles v'kevesh she'enam mechubarim b'tit, or on a ramp that's made of a beam or a door or another kind of wooden board, but they're not attached to the ground. Here. Today we have gangplanks, proper ramps, yeah? But this, let's say, was made out of regular board, not attached to the ground with mud. You saw the vibration?
Mm-hmm. Oops. When you walk.
No, where's the? It's supposed to move this food. Let's try it again. Here's the tree. See that? See it's moving?
Yeah.
Opa. There it is. There it's moving again. It's vibrating. Oishe hikish al haneger al hamanul, or he hits a crossbar or a bolt. This is in ancient times, right? They used to have these doors. And how did they lock a door? They didn't have locks in the door. They used to have a bar. This is one type. Whatever, many different types of bolts and different things. So neger, classically, is the bar itself.
You still find them in Aza.
And manul is the bolt that actually locks it in place. So if he bangs them, and again, let's say there's food or something at the other edge, vehamashoit, or on an oar. Yeah? What do you call these today in Hebrew? Mashotim, no?
Mashotim.
Yeah. This is a small boat. There's an oar. So let's say there's something on the oar, and he bangs it. Again, these are all things that are not attached in a firm way. When he bangs, he causes food or drink or utensils to fall. Even if they just shake it, they didn't fall. They become impure. Because to begin with, these are loosely or unfirm things, so it's clear that the zav caused them to move. However, going back to the branch, let's say it was a firm branch, strong tree, and that's the one he hits. Oyal sulam mesumar, or on a step stool that's nailed into the ground, into a wall. Oyal kevesh, oyal deles, oy kaira hamechubarin betit, or back to these ramps, but it's attached firmly to the ground with clay or mud. Oy al hamarish. What's a marish? Is a crossbeam. Today, in construction, many times you have to have this one beam. This is actually right here. There's two in our building. Yeah, the whole thing is being held on them. So today they make it out of steel. But
my plans to my house.
so you know what it is, yeah. But in the olden days, there was always a wooden beam. The Talmud talks about it a lot, a marish. It was like the main beam across which you would put the other beams. Yeah. So this is typically a marish.
Still today.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. So typically a marish is very, very firmly planted in wherever structure it is. Oy al hatanur, or on a oven. So the ancient ovens used to look. And he bangs on the oven. And when he bangs them, he causes utensils or food or drink to move, or even if they fall, and they're all pure. Because these are all things that are firmly implanted. The ovens also used to be attached to the ground with a very thick layer of clay. So it's considered to be that it's only the vibration of the zav, not the direct causation. And so too in any similar cases, the rule always applies. If it's heset, tameh, if it's just re'ada, it's tahar. Now, says the Rambam, Malacha Beis, Tanur Shoysa Pas Devuka Boy. Let's say you have an oven and there was some bread attached to it. Oh, I don't know if you missed that. Hikish ala Tanur v'naf ala kikar. You saw that? He bangs the oven and the loaf falls down. Let's do it again. Here. Check it out. There's the loaf, it falls down. Okay, so he bangs the oven, but just the bread. These ovens were round and they used to stick the bread to the sides of the oven.
Still doing it today.
In Yemen? Where?
No, in another thing.
Okay, so you can see this imitation stuff. So you stick the bread to the side, and then there was a very talented art. It's called ridiyat tapat, to get the bread out after it's done.
Yeah.
So you bang the oven, and the loaf falls down. Afilu haya truma, even if it's truma, which has to be more careful for impurity, hareze tahar, it is pure. Because again, that's an example of just vibration. However, if when you inspect the loaf that fell down, you actually see a piece of the pottery of the oven fell down with it, then even if it's chulin, which doesn't require so much carefulness about impurity, that's impure. Because there's no way to get a piece of the clay of the oven off of the oven unless you banged it really hard, and it's not just vibrations, now it's already heset, and the zav makes it impure. Halacha Gimel. Returning now to the Mishkav original laws. Ein ha-Mishkav ha-Merkav Metam'ei kelim oichlinu mashkin ela b'maga bilvat. Something that was lied upon. Okay, let's use a mattress as an example. A zav lied down on a mattress. That whole thing becomes a mishkav. It becomes an av hatuma, primary source of impurity. And when it comes to people, we said, if somebody stands or sits or lies or hangs or leans on them, or even carries them, they become impure. But for this mattress to make utensils or food or drink tameh, there has to be direct contact. But if there were, let's say, utensils or food or drink on top of this mattress, which is called midras, because it was stepped on by a zav, or this midras, this mattress was on top of them, even if there's only a piece of paper in between them, no direct contact, since they didn't contact directly, they are pure. Same thing if this mattress caused utensils or food or drink to move, like a seesaw. You have utensils or food or drink on one side of the seesaw, and then you drop this mattress on the other side of the seesaw, and it caused it to move. It's pure. Because the only way a mishkav can make kelim impure is through maga, through actual direct touching. You have two people sitting in a very small boat. One is a zav, one is a pure person. It's so small that it shakes if one person walks onto it. or they're sitting on an asda. What's an asda? So in his commentary to the Mishnah, the Rambam writes that an asda is actually another type of boat. It was a very small boat that they used to use to go through shallow rivers. But the common understanding of asda is actually a raft.
Is it like kayaking?
Rafsuda.
Is it kayaking?
Huh? No. Oh, like the Rambam's commentary? Probably like a kayak, yeah. But the classic interpretation of asda is a raft. So in this case also, the raft would be a zav and a toher are sitting on the raft. Or they're riding on an animal together. Even though even their clothes aren't even touching each other. Nevertheless, the clothes of the person who's pure is considered to be impure as if the zav stepped on it. It's only a doubtful impurity. Shema daras hazav alei, and maybe the zav stepped on them. Now, of course, there's hesed here. Of course, the zav, because it's a small boat, caused the person to move. But that's a lower level of impurity. The Rambam over here, when he talks about safek, he means for the higher level of impurity for midras. Same thing if you have a woman who's a nida, and she's sitting on a bed together with somebody who's pure, begadim or begadav, tmeyin medras. Their clothing become impure, also out of doubt. Chutz mikipa shebereisha, except for the cover on her head, because that for sure the nida didn't touch. Same thing if you have a boat and there's a mast, a big pole, and there's clothing on top of the mast, so of course the zav didn't touch that. That for sure doesn't become impure. Halacha hey. If somebody squeezes himself through the area next to a mill, this is a big mill, right? You walk around it, that's how you work the mill, and it happens to be in a very squishy place. And right now, who's working the mill? An idol-worshipping Gentile or a zav who's impure. So when you try to squeeze by, it's very possible that you touch them. Says the Rambam, begadav tmei in midras, yes, your clothing become impure, as if a zav touched them. What kind of mill are we talking about? Not a small mill. It's a big mill that it causes the ground to shake. A person standing next to it will find himself being jostled around from his place. So it's very possible that the person moved and touched the other person. Now obviously, it's only a doubtful impurity. Maybe by working the mill, the person who was impure got moved from his place, jumped away, and ended up stepping on the clothing of the pure person. And therefore, because of that doubt, when a person squeezes by, we have to consider him to be medras, that he became impure. From the Simon B'Toiv, we conclude with a good note.